Well, summer is quickly coming to an end here. Somehow it feels like that went by so quickly, but I wanted to do another day of baking. And so we have 2 artisan loaves ready here to get shaped. You can see they are very happy. This one is actually a jalapeno cheddar loaf, and then the other one is a plain one. I mixed up a bunch of sourdough doughs last night. So we'll start off by shaping these and then move on. All right, we'll let these rest for 5 to 10 minutes. In the meantime, I actually have another sourdough bread, but this one is a sandwich loaf that we're gonna do. So I think I'll do 1 plain of this and then do 1 cinnamon raisin. It looks like fun, doesn't it? I like to kind of roll this up a little bit before I divide it. Just makes it easier to see approximately where's half. And then I actually spread this back out before I roll it up to shape the loaf itself. That's not how my mom did it growing up, but somewhere along the line I started doing it that way and it seems to work pretty good. We'll roll this one up for the plain one and then we'll get a little fancier with the cinnamon raisin. I will try my very best to have all these recipes for you in the description box below. I know I've been doing a terrible job with that. I hate when it is that way, where you see part of a recipe in a video and then you can't actually go make it at home. That is so not how I want it to be. It's just been wild with all the summer things. We hosted another big event here on Sunday with about 200 people. We've had birthdays. I've been dealing with some health things again. Anyway, it's just been a lot. So having said all that, you can keep me accountable. If you don't see the recipe in the description box this time, just remind me in the comments. Okay, first little loaf is ready to rise. And this bread rises for a little bit longer. I would say like 2 to 3 hours that I let the sandwich loaf rise. And then this one I'll spread out again like the previous one, but this time we're gonna put some butter and some brown sugar and raisins and cinnamon in it. And it makes this beautiful and very delicious swirl bread. Yeah, that's yummy. Using this top one, I actually have it both in the same jar, but this is organic brown sugar. Sprinkle some of that on. Does that look yummy? All right, and then we'll do some raisins. And some cinnamon. If you kind of pull and tuck the sides in as you roll, helps keep the filling in a little better. Just poking some holes in the breads here to help prevent gaps. It helps the air escape while you're baking. And then I'm actually gonna cover this with saran wrap. Since these have a longer rise, I want to make sure that they don't dry out. So we're gonna cover them up and then we'll put them aside for the next couple hours. Do want to leave plenty of space for them to rise here, so that's why I'm kind of trying to make this a tent situation. Push the flour away a little bit because you can't tighten these artisan loaves well if it's too floury. This is one of my favorite parts of artisan loaves is this, because start to see it take shape. I like to put some plastic wrap in my bowl that's like oiled because that really helps to keep this from sticking. Okay, and then we'll cover that with a towel. Can you say where you're gonna go? He's just started saying tractor, and it's the cutest thing. You get to ride the tractor with Daddy this morning? Tractor, yeah. Definitely a born farmer. Yeah, tractor. These kids have the best daddy ever.
You try to drive it when we're actually in the field. Alright, let's go.
They won't be out there all day, but they sure do love when they can ride for little bits and bobs of time. In the meantime, I am going to get my scones ready. So I actually mixed these up last night as well. They are sourdough. These are a peach cobbler scone, I think is what they're called. So I'm very much looking forward to that. It is peach season here right now. We actually are starting to get some peaches from our peach trees down in the orchard, which is very exciting. I will say they're not as pretty yet as store-bought, but they are so delicious and they are the nicest ones we've been able to grow so far. So it's definitely been a bit of a learning curve. I had this in the fridge overnight, so my dough is quite stiff now. I'm gonna try to coax it into a circle and then we'll cut it into wedges and put it on the baking sheet. All right, we'll cover these and pop them in the freezer for a little bit while we bake our artisan loaves. Okay, next on the list is some chocolate chip cookies, and I thought it would be fun to do these kind of like crumble cookie style. And I say that never actually having had an official crumble cookie, but what I have in mind is like these big cookies that have toppings on them. I made some quite a while ago. They were so delicious. This is a different recipe, but like the style of the crumble cookie. So the first requirement for that, of course, is a big cookie scoop. I think this is maybe a 1/3 cup because that's kind of a signature thing of crumble cookies is they are large. I don't have a ton of dough here, so we won't make a ton of them today, but it'll be fun to try this recipe, see if it's something that we want to make in bulk later. The chocolate chips in these cookies are the Lily's chocolate, so they are sweetened with stevia, which is really fun, and then the actual cookie dough I sweetened with some raw honey. I always love making healthy alternatives where I can, but my only requirement is it still has to taste delicious. So we'll see how these turn out. We're getting a little bit backed up with the stove here, but that's okay. We'll just keep right on shaping and getting the next things ready to pop into the oven. Next up, actually, I have something that I've never ever made before. I don't know, I think I've ever even had it anywhere before, so I won't be able to tell if it's tastes or looks like it's actually supposed to, but these are caramelized onion and feta bialys. and I thought they looked so good. I saw the recipe in this cookbook. This is the Artisan Sourdough Made Simple. And by the way, this is a great sourdough cookbook if you are a beginner into sourdough especially, but I still, years and years into doing sourdough, reference this from time to time. And I will try to have that linked for you in the description box below. But this is where I am getting the recipe from. And they actually have it with goat cheese, but I'm gonna do it with feta since I don't have like crumbly goat cheese. So I think next up, and this has a long rise, like 12 to 18 hours it says. I'm currently at 11 and a half hours, but I'm kind of hoping to get my baking done in the morning. I don't want it to go into the afternoon. And so we're gonna just give it a go. It seems like a very, very soft dough. So hopefully that all turns out for us. I think the next step though is to divide this into little circles. Okay, Artisan loaves are done, and I got them a little bit dark. I'm bummed. I was working on something else, but I think they'll still be delicious. This is the jalapeno one. Can't wait to try them. The oven has some space now, so I'm gonna go ahead and bake our peach scones. They're semi-frozen now, but that's okay. I think it'll still work. I'm gonna brush them with some heavy cream, and then we will sprinkle them generously with some streusel. The scones are done, so we're gonna pop them onto the cookie sheet again so that we can make some room on our rack here for the chocolate chip cookies. They look a little bit more like mini cakes, I would say. The edges are a little bit dark where the chocolate chips squeezed out, but I think we can work with it. We'll top that with, it's that same cream cheese mousse that I've talked about so many times. We've really been enjoying it on cakes and really on almost anything. It's such a good option for something that you can work with, like decorate, pipe, that kind of thing, but it's not so sweet. So we are gonna top those with that and then some more of the Lily's chocolate chips. Okay, carrying on, a couple more things to do here. I wanted to make these little mini pavlovas. I thought they would be so cute for in the summer, so I whipped up a bunch of egg whites. I have 6 egg whites here with some sugar, like 1.5 cups, and I'm adding some cornstarch to help stabilize it. It's actually just 2 teaspoons. I have a little 1/4 teaspoon here. And then we'll also add in some vanilla, and my timer is going for the bread. Let's check that quick. Okay, the plain loaf is done. The cinnamon raisin needs just a little bit more time. Just butter that real quick here before we do our pavlovas. Okay, we'll stir this in with a spatula, and then we're gonna pipe it as little rounds onto our baking tray. Meringues are in the oven, so now we're gonna do the bialys. So I'm just gonna make a little indent in the center of these, and then we will put our onion mixture. These are like caramelized onions with some fresh thyme, as well as sprinkle them with feta. And then I think I'll put some everything but the bagel seasoning around the outside, and then we'll bake those. Brush these with some water to hopefully get the seeds to stick a little better. All right, and then the feta cheese. The girls just picked a giant bouquet. Do you want to show it, Leslie? That is so fun. Okay, the pavlovas are baked and cooled now, so we are ready to pop some whipping cream in, and then I have a couple different types of berries here. We have some, or not berries, fruit. We have some peaches, strawberries, and blueberries. We'll just top those. If I had some pansies or something like that in here right now, I would top it with that as well. It would be super fun, but it is time for me to get done with this and move on with the day. So let's fill these and try them. All right, and I didn't even mention this whipping cream. I just put barely like a tablespoon maybe of maple syrup in it because the pavlova itself is pretty sweet. I did not want it to be overly sweetened. But now we're just gonna pop on some fruit. Oh, colorful fruit desserts are everything in the summer. Doesn't that look pretty, Abby?
To whom much is given, much is required. You've given freely that holy.
Okay, that would actually be so pretty too, just to do with only peaches, but I think we'll add some more. Maybe we can do some with strawberries and some with blueberries.
Promise to honor all you are. Father, we thank you for all you've done. We're letting go. We're letting go.
Okay, shall we taste test one?
Pudding.
That is so good. All right, so we have our chocolate chip cookies, our caramelized onion bialys, our delicious meringue desserts, and then let's get over our breads. We have our plain sandwich loaf, cinnamon swirl sandwich loaf. We have a plain artisan loaf, as well as the jalapeno cheddar, which I actually cut open because I wanted to see what it looked like on the inside. And then the peach scones. So that was really fun. So good to have all these baked goods ready to go. I hope you were inspired in your kitchen today. Let me know what you're baking this week, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
Golden, golden things.